Hello, welcome to another episode of WTFW. I am your host, Nikki Flowers, and this is the only weather show brave enough to put a humidifier and a dehumidifier in the same room to see who wins. Spoiler alert, it gets really messy. With me here is my cool web friend. Cool web friend.
Hello.
Is that how you want to be introduced? Do you want to tell people your name? I only know you as cool web friend. I mean, you're Anthony, right?
Yeah, I'm Anthony. I go by Ant sometimes. Yeah, I've been online for a really long time, and yeah, I like the weather. I'm into the weather.
You're online and you like the weather. You're on the perfect show. So we are coming at you live. You are from Tinseltown, USA, LA, baby.
Yes. Yeah, where we make the tinsel.
All the tinsel comes from there.
Yeah. It's hot here. It's dry. There's a drought, as usual.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, we could get right into the drought segment now that you brought it up, because this is kind of the defining feature of the weather for both of our locales. So let's go to the drought segment. Drought. So we're still in a drought. That's kind of the same update as every drought segment, because well, it kind of never ends, but we do have slightly more info about it. A research paper came out from a bunch of eggheads up in Science Land or whatever. It's called, the paper I'm looking at here, Rapid Intensification of the Emerging Southwestern North American MEGADROUGHT in 2020 to 2021.
Mega drought. That's like a million droughts.
That's like a ton of droughts. Okay. This was published in Nature Climate Change, and I'll just read the little abstract here. A previous reconstruction back to 800 CE indicated that the 2000 to 2018 soil moisture deficit in the southwestern North America region was exceeded during only one megadrought in the late 1500s. Here we show that How do they know that? I don't know. I would have to read the whole paper.
A simulation, like I know that they do like ice cores, right, in like Greenland to figure out like CO2 content in the atmosphere over time. But how do they do soil moisture over time? It
must be something similar, right? Maybe they drill down and they just have like a big chunk of land. I don't know how that would work, but they did science, and they found out that so after exceptional drought severity in 2021. Negative or around 19%, not negative, that's a squiggle. So around 19% of which is attributable to anthropogenic climate trends. That's us, baby. Mm-hmm. 2000 to 2021 was the driest 22-year period since at least 800 CE. This drought will very likely persist through 2022. Spoiler alert, they were correct. And that makes this current mega drought, a drought that lasts over 2 decades, the same as that late 1500s mega drought.
Cool. Love it.
We love that. What are your thoughts on living in the worst mega drought since the 16th century?
I mean, no one seems to be changing their behavior whatsoever in response to this condition. So like, I live in a neighborhood with lots and lots of lawns and like nice gardens and stuff, which is like nice if you want to walk around and look at some pretty flowers, but
for sure,
it's not great if you like care about the world, so
and want to keep living in it, and like want
every
future
day
humans
I'm
to also.
Like I really want to spread like poison around on the ground, or that sort of thing. Like there are ways to kill lawns. Like you can totally do it.
Listen,
I mean, like
WTFW doesn't actively encourage crime. That's kind of the official show stance, but I can't deny the fact that there are ways, really accessible ways, to the average consumer to purchase certain products that would destroy a lawn near permanently. You could totally do it. Go to your local Home Depot or Lowe's or what have you, and you find some stuff. Again, not encouraging it. It's just an option for you.
Yeah, it's just statement of facts.
Yeah. The other statement of fact: lawns should be abolished and gotten rid of. We need to use that land for, like, something useful. Let's grow some food there. Yeah, our front lawn, we keep getting in trouble from the city because they think it's like ugly or whatever. But what we got in our front lawn is like native grass, like the California state grass, purple needle grass. People think it's weeds because they're not used to like an actual vegetation, right? So we keep getting excited.
They're so alienated from nature that they can't even recognize.
Yeah, literally, we got a citation from the city, like, you need to cut all the weeds in your lawn, and we had to be like, this is purple needle grass. It's literally like a protected plant. I'm not getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And we had to fight with the city for it. And we've got artichoke plants. We eat artichokes from our lawn. All our neighbors have just nothing. They don't have anything they can do at their lawn. We're winning.
Artichokes are super neat too. They're kind of colorful.
Great.
They've got like purple going on.
It really makes the lawn pop when it's got those purple little bits when they're coming in. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Every lawn should be like that, not this flat, just one color green. Where did that even come from? Is this like, where did lawns come from? Why do we have these? I should look into this.
I feel like it's a European thing. It's like, because like what I'm imagining is like Versailles, right? Like I'm imagining royalty mansion castle situation, and like big topiary gardens and just grass, so you can do like, I don't know, horse stuff, like
yeah, the European horse
take
stuff.
Your horse out,
right?
Yeah.
They probably like hunt foxes or something. They do like some weird barbarism on the lawn. Yeah, that seems European.
I don't actually know the history of lawns though. We should look into that.
That might have to be another a special WTFW special about lawns.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're in the mega drought. This is different from a super drought, and it's different from a regular drought. Other news about, how there's a lack of water. We're running out of the Colorado River.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just running out of it. Lake Mead's surface is now at 1,045 feet above sea level. At 895 feet, the Hoover Dam could no longer release water. So that's pretty close.
So there's like a whole like power generation aspect to this as well.
It's power.
Like...
but like, so it's, I think like, 25 million people. We're like 150 feet away from them losing access to the Colorado River. That's power generation. That is agriculture. Like I think 80%. Yeah, it says 80% of the water from the Colorado River is used for agriculture. So that's be a problem.
It's so much.
It's a lot of water. Yeah, like, and there's
Not
conversations to be had
lawn.
about. Yeah, there's conversations to be had about industrial agriculture and how that is affecting the climate. But we do need food to eat.
Yeah, there's a book by a guy named Mark Arax, Arax, called The Dreamt Land. I think that's what it's called, and it's about kind of the history of the Central Valley, sort of recent history of the Central Valley of California, and sort of some of the water issues there, and the different parties that are fighting over those rights, and how the agriculture industry basically controls that whole section of the state. It's a good book. You should look up.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're into like California history stuff.
Well, I should be now that I'm here and living it. And especially because it's gonna, this kind of, control over water is going to be, I think people keep joking about water wars, but like, is that so out of our imagination? That could happen, right? If this mega drought keeps droughting up,
Yeah, there's a movie called Sleep Dealers, which kind of deals with this scenario a little bit, if I recall. Yeah, I don't remember the plot well enough to explain it, but Sleep Dealers, yeah, go watch Sleep Dealers.
But yeah, but for anyone out there who's like, oh, this mega drought, California gets droughts all the time, this is normal. So one of the co-authors of the new study said that we would still have been in drought conditions, right? But it would not have been nearly this bad. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, well, the weather's always going to be weird. It's like, yeah, but we're making it weird. We're causing it to be weirder. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we just keep doing it.
Yeah, we just keep doing it. And like Lake Powell also, Lake Mead and Lake Powell, by the way. So these are two of the country's, I think two of the largest reservoirs that provide water for millions of people. Both of them reached record lows last year. They just declared a water shortage for the first time in its history last year. Like, things are escalating. People are like, oh, we gotta prepare for climate change to come in the future. It's here now. I hate to be all doomerism about it, but that's what it is.
The last time I looked into this, desalination was thought of as like too expensive to like invest in infrastructurally. But I feel like if this is the place we're getting to, maybe that calculation can kind of be redone a little bit.
Yeah, you know, it's not worth saving all that money if we're gonna fucking die.
Yeah, well, we've got a whole Pacific Ocean right there, you know.
Oh yeah,
like
we got all the water to drink. Yeah, that's perfect water. We're fine.
So okay, something I don't understand. Like I was thinking about this yesterday. Like you're like salt water. I've heard that drinking water with salt in it, like you need salt to stay hydrated or something.
Yeah,
this
you
is
need
a body
some
thing.
You need some sodium. Yeah.
But if you drink seawater, you die, or something, right? I don't.
Yeah, no, you
understand the difference.
It's just that there's so much salt in seawater. Like you need the balance. If you get too much, you sort of get off kilter. But yeah, this drought. For the drought to end this year or next year, one of the scientists says, we're going to need 1 or 2 winters of pretty solid, well above average precipitation to kind of dig us out of the hole we're in. He says maybe it'll happen, but looking at historical variability, it's unlikely. That's not great. You don't like to hear that from a climate scientist of like, I hope things will go better, but it probably won't.
Yeah, no, in college, I took this class about like sustainability science, and you know, like halfway through the semester, I just went up to the teacher after class, and I was like, you know, I come here every week, twice a week, and like to lab and stuff, and it's a bummer.
Yeah.
And like, how do you stand here and teach this stuff and not just go home super depressed every day? And all he had to say was like, people are resilient, nature is not so much. So like we will probably be fine. We is like selective, right?
And
like,
fine is really stretching.
World.
Yeah, we and fine are both like kind of squishy here, but yeah, like
right, yeah, totally.
But yeah, I mean the concern is like the planet we're living on is not as resilient as us. I mean, it's pretty damn resilient. It's handling us so far. But yeah,
it's like California is like uniquely bad historically, I feel, because of the history of roads here. Like the car industry kind of had a stranglehold on the government for a while, and like the oil industry as well. And they want to sell gas and they want to sell cars, and so all of California's infrastructure is road based, and that is true for the rest of the country. Kind of after California developed that. And so like
it started from California basically then, that sort of like, let's not make any city walkable.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had the first freeways. That's a thing. And it kind of expanded out from here, is my understanding.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's you're like close to an oil refinery, right?
Yep. It's the one that keeps exploding. Yeah, I'm the Chevron.
That does not narrow it down.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's the Chevron Richmond facility. On its Wikipedia page has a like incidents section. I remember seeing one of the incidents with my own eyes. I was walking back from the store, and on the horizon, just this enormous, I can't even tell you how big, like enormous fireball, just right in the sky. And I'm like, should I not be outside right now? Should I be like seeking shelter? So I like ran back home and I was like, hey, something exploded. This was like like the first summer I was here. My roommate was like, oh, that's the oil refinery. And I'm like, oh, why? Yeah, the oil refinery exploded. Why are you not more upset at that? And she's like, that happens.
Sometimes they just, they just burp out a big old fireball.
Oh yeah, they call it a flare-up event.
Yeah.
Excuse
So
me?
I grew up next to a Chevron oil refinery down here in Southern California.
Yeah.
And there was actually a Richmond Street bar and grill over there. But yeah, growing up next to this refinery, next to the water, we were taught not to swim after it rains, like for a couple of reasons.
Oh God.
One of the reasons is that like all of the gunk that's on the roads and stuff, it all goes into the ocean, and so you're basically swimming in road gunk.
In Chevron gunk, yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, the refineries, they would wait until the weather conditions were correct to do these flare-ups, and burn off chemicals that they would otherwise have to dispose of properly, right?
Yeah.
And if the chemicals end up in the air, they can be measured by the South Coast Air Quality Management Division,
Right.
And Chevron could be fined for that chemical output. But if it rains, if they do it when it rains, all of it ends up in the ocean instead. Like the water will kind of leach it out of the air.
Those fucking bastards.
Yeah, that's how they avoid fines.
Because that's okay.
So
that must be what they do.
Like going in,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's totally what they do. Was it raining when that thing exploded? When you saw it?
No, that was the crazy thing. It wasn't. It was bright and
sometimes
sunny.
It just happens. Yeah.
I don't think they meant for this to happen. It was just sort of an unintended explosion at an oil refinery, which is the best kind of explosion at one of those.
Yeah.
By the way, we were wondering how they knew what the soil was like in the year 800. So I was I was reading through, and the researchers relied on analyses of ancient preserved tree rings, which can provide information about the climate conditions over the course of the tree's life. They found tree rain records stretching back to 800. So that's how they found out. Clever.
That's actually super cool.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all about water and how much we don't have it, but you also were invited onto this wonderful show because of a project you're working on that has to do with measuring some water. Why don't you tell us about your tidal sonification project?
Yeah. So my friend Josh and I, we wrote some code, a little Python script to take tidal constituent data that is published by NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, I think.
You got it. Yeah, that's where my simulator gets all the data. Shout out to NOAA.
Yeah, NOAA's pretty cool. So they publish tidal constituent data. If you look at tidal measurements, just water height over time, like recorded data of water height, you get this complex waveform, and if you perform a fast Fourier transform on that waveform, you get all of these constituent harmonics, these waves that represent phenomena in the real world, the position of the moon, the sun, the seasons, and all this. There's like 400 of these constituents that they can measure and connect to actual phenomena. And
you can connect all of these data points to like certain waveforms, you said. So how does this work? You're so brain genius here. I'm like,
no.
So what's a Fourier transform? What is that?
Oh, so it has to do with furries. It's when you transform from a person into a furry. No, it's so if you take like the waveform of us talking,
okay,
right, it's really a sum of a bunch of sine waves at different frequencies, and you can add the sine waves together,
right,
to replicate the sound of our voices, right? You can do this with any audio waveform, but any waveform,
right?
And the Fourier transform is the thing that reveals those constituents that make up the complex waveform.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So you can do like a visualization of the relative amplitudes of those different frequencies, and then what they did back in the 1800s was they looked at this at these harmonics, and they tried to say, okay, well, which one is the moon, which one's the sun, and then what are the other ones, and what can we connect them to? So this takes that data and is basically like a tide prediction script,
right?
But it speeds it up from like, a month-long cycle to like a 400 hertz cycle. So and then turns it into a sound. So that's the tide synth idea, is just taking that waveform and making it really, really fast, and listening to it.
And then sonifying it. Great word, sonification. It's just another way of presenting the data. Right?
Yeah. And you can do this not just with tides, but you can do it with you could do it with the positions of different moons. Like you could do the same thing with like the moons of Jupiter. You could do it with the solar system, as long as you've got like an amplitude of phase and a period for each.
So anything with waves.
Constituent. Yeah,
that's awesome. But this is
so as long as a fun little.
So yeah, it says here, as long as it's formatted to match the format of the NOAA data that you have, you can. Yeah, this is so cool. Okay, yeah, I was checking this out, and I was playing along with it a little bit before we got started, but I wanted to end the episode here on some examples. I wanted to like kind of ASMR our way out of the episode.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sure. So this is a recording at 712 hertz of some tidal data from Los Angeles, California, on May the 27th, 2022.
Sweet. Let's take a listen.
I guess that's where where the sound would be.
Yeah.
Here's one that represents the solar system.
Ooh.
And you can download the script and try it out for yourself with whatever data you want. You can go to NOAA's website and find tidal data wherever you are in the world, presuming that there is an ocean right there. And you can find the nearest measurement station and input the data and get some sounds for yourself.
Sweet. Yeah. So this is Tide Synth. This is on GitHub. Do check it out. It is very fucking cool. Pardon my French. And thank you very much for showing us this and giving it to the world.
Yeah, thank you for plugging it. It was fun to make. It was fun to take my friend who is like a professional tech guy and make him do something for art instead of like a product. So I was happy
showed him
to redirect his efforts towards something a little more fun.
Well, folks, I think that's going to do it for this episode of WTFW. Anthony, cool web friend, thank you for joining us. Thank you for forcing your tech friend to make some art instead of just wasting his time. And please try and stay cool out there, okay?
Yeah, working on it.
Hell yeah. That's going to do it. Everyone, don't
swim in the water after it rains.
Yeah,
if it ever does again.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, folks, don't swim in the water after it rains.
If it ever does again.
If it ever does again.